Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kia Simone, and we are here to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. So yeah, I could actually tolerate this episode a little bit better than the last one. So I'm gonna get it on out the way. How y'all doing? You been alright? I know I skipped last week and I just showed back up like, ain't nothing happened. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's what we gonna do. Mind your business. We here, okay? We here. That's all that matters. All right, let's get into it. So this episode opened up with Destiny. Destiny is shooting a cover for Hyper magazine, which is a pretty big deal to any little black girl. Just like Destiny said in the episode, I grew up reading Hyper magazine. Some of the biggest stars of our community have been on the cover of Hyper magazine. So it's a really big deal. Her dad comes in, he's all happy for her. He gives her flowers. He's really tearful and very proud of her. It was just a really, really sweet moment. And then Tisha comes in. So Destiny jokes about setting her dad up with Miss Wanda, and Tisha's like, okay, he ain't ready. He don't want them problems. All right. So they sit down and get to talking about, just recapping the Vegas trip and how that went down. Talking about the Mel Tiffany Destiny dynamic. And, Destiny is like, I feel like me and Tiffany can never work it out because Mel is always inserting herself. Well, Mel is always inserting herself because it benefits her. Might I also add, this is Tisha's season. Tisha looks amazing. Like in every scene, Tisha looks amazing. And Destiny's confessional look, the whole Asian doll with the blue Asian fabric and the ponytail. Oh my God. I am in love. They are serving. I just had to add that. I'm sorry. I'm a girl that loves fashion. So Destiny, of course, asked Tisha how she felt about Marcel's refusal to renew his vows. And Tisha's just like, I'm over it. She's at that point, I was over everything between the whole Mel and Marcel with all they fighting and carrying on and everything else is going. It is what it is. He don't want to renew. We still married. Whatever. So the next stop is Marcel goes to meet with Marcel to discuss partnering for contracting on the 47 acres. Apparently Marcel has a general contractor's license, and so Marcel is doing whatever maneuvering he has to do to try to stay in the game. Anything but go get a general contractor's license. But okay. Marcel fills Marceau in on the backstory of the 47 acres and him and Mel and the whole, tug of war that's going on between them. And Marceau, of course, presents the question of, one, are you even willing to work with Mel? And two, do we have to be worried about Holt drama? Because that's what I'm worried about. And so, of course, Marcel is like, well, no, we're doing great. We're getting along. We're, just taking care of the kids. What? Ain't y'all just been down to the coffee shop, moving the people table around and stuff? So Marceau is like, this all sounds real good, but we just saw them in Vegas about the street fight. And so I don't know if I want to get in the middle of that because I don't know basically that they're going to be able to keep it professional. So Chris comes in and Marceau basically asks Chris, how do you feel about working with the Holts in the middle of everything they got going on? And Chris is like, listen, as far as I'm concerned, they're both adults. I'm dealing with them in terms of a business matter. I'm not dealing with their marriage. It don't have nothing to do with that. That's all well and good, Chris, if you were dealing with grown-ups who are about their business, but you're not, okay? So Marceau is trying to warn you. Good luck. So the next stop is Tiffany and Destiny are meeting for drinks. Destiny arrives at the bar and she has on this cute open back lace up dress, these lace up heels, and Tiffany shows up in her pink top and her black skirt and her pink heels. Okay. Their whole meeting gave me the vibe of the Sunday school teacher meeting with the new lady at the church who wears her dresses just a little too short and too tight. And she don't know that sister girl is about to read her all her Sunday school rights. Hey, that's what they gave me. So Tiffany gets in, she sits down and she tells Destiny how she thought about not coming. And Destiny's like, well, why? And she said, well, because it always seems to go left when we get together. And Destiny's like, yeah, because you got a smart mouth. And Tiffany's like, do I really have a smart mouth? Here we go already. Like, girl, show up or don't, okay? So she's like, yeah, you have a smart mouth. And she starts to give her examples. So Tiffany responds with, well, let me challenge you to see it a different way. Me and Destiny said, oh my God, at the same time. Girl, challenge yourself to see yourself. Don't challenge me to lie to myself about how you've been to me. Don't do that. Like, challenge me. Girl, your presence in my life challenges me. Don't offer me no more challenges. Okay? But anyway, she wants to challenge her to see it a different way. And in order to do this, what she does is tries to relate as the new girl. So she's like, well, remember what it was like when you were the new girl and this, that, and the third? And so Destiny is like, she said, just be in my shoes for a minute. So Destiny is like, okay, I'm going to get in your pink pumps for just a minute. Girl, the shade. Oh my God. Tiffany, we ain't gonna drag you too bad. It's the first season. Everybody goes through it. Shit, Mel's still wearing fool stuff in the confessional. It's okay. You gonna get it together, all right? I ain't gonna drag you too bad because, whew. So Destiny is like, yeah, I've been the new girl, but I didn't come for anybody's marriage and things like that. She's like, yeah, but everybody liked you and you got along right. Like, we know that Destiny was not well received. Destiny didn't really get along with everybody. Her and Kimmy had beef. We know that. However, she's right. She didn't come in talking about people's marriages and things like that. She had beef with Kimmy because she felt like Kimmy played her husband. Now, whether she was right or wrong is a whole nother issue. But she didn't come in trying to spill people's tea all over the table. So, no. We can't relate. So when Tiffany goes into explaining how, she in general just feels misunderstood, Destiny says, well, misunderstood is my middle name, so I get it. But since you like to talk about transparency, you be transparent because you're making everybody else be transparent, but you are as see-through as a black sock. So help us. So Tiffany goes into this whole backstory of how she is adopted. She was the rejected child of a white mother. She was born to a white mother who had 4 white children. She was the only biracial child and was given up for adoption. She was adopted by an interracial couple who did not tell her she was adopted. All she knew was that she looked around. She wasn't like anybody. There was nobody that she could really explain herself away with. Like, I behave like this person. I look like this person. And so around 19, a neighbor told her that she was adopted. And she uses this adoption story to explain her connectivity issues and some of her relationship issues. She talks about how, her high school sweetheart recently passed away and things of that nature. And so she basically gives you the backstory of her life and some of her trauma. And that's, definitely relatable and understandable. And Destiny tells her, I can relate even on the whole issue of family and connectivity because I have a drug addicted mother. So I grew up in and out of foster care and group homes and things of that nature. So I understand that. However, this story kind of feels like deflection. it feels like I'm going to show you my trauma and my pain and what's wrong with me so that you'll give me a pass to do the things that I do. While we are grateful that you know, share your backstory and let us into who you are and what has made you who you are, this does not justify your behavior. And this whole, you know, I can't take credit for this transparent Tiffany that you all know today without telling you my story. Girl, we appreciate the story, but this has nothing to do with why you are showing up in groups the way that you're showing up in groups. It's just two different things. And Destiny says that in the confessional. She says, you know, I can relate to what she's saying. I understand what she's saying, but it just kind of feels like she tells the story to deflect from what her real issues are. And that's the long and short of it. So they end their get together by apologizing to each other. Tiffany apologizes to Destiny for the brunch and says, you know, I really was just trying to use this as a point of reference to say, hey, I've met you before, and it was just taken completely out of context, and I really apologize. And Destiny accepts her apology, and then Destiny goes on to say, you know, and I'm woman enough to say, I will apologize. She says, you know, Destiny said two very profound things. The first thing Destiny said that I loved is, my love language is respect. Girl, if you ain't an Aquarius, I don't know what you is, okay? Our love language is respect. That sums up life for me, okay? My love language is respect. You disrespect me, and you are going to meet a whole different version of me that I keep tucked away for special occasions, okay? Like, respect is my love language. I love it. I love it, okay? And then when she goes on to apologize, she says, you know, I will apologize for threatening to drag you. She said, I meant what I said, but it wasn't okay. I said, what in the don't take this apology for granted, because I will whoop your ass hell. As Destiny said, I meant what I said, but it wasn't okay. I will drag you, but that was not okay to say. I said, well, damn. At least she honest. So the next stop is Mel goes to meet Chris at his office. Since Martell pissed her off at the coffee shop, she has decided she wants to fight for the 47 acres. So here we go. So she goes in to talk with Chris, and, you know, she asks Chris about if he's gotten a chance to talk to Martell. And he said, yes, I did, and explained both his and Martell's positions, that Martell felt like I should have consulted with him. But I explained to him that, you know, my position is I'm acting on behalf of my client. My client asked me to speak with Melody because she is the person who holds the builder's license, and she is who's authorized to build homes. So I'm handling my business as I see fit. He asked her if she's okay with working on the project knowing that Martell is upset. And so, you know, she gives this whole speech about how she don't care how he feels, and he's a grown man, and she's not living her life or making decisions for her and her kids according to another grown man's feelings. So he was like, oh, okay, good to know you feel like that, because FYI, I went to a meeting with Martell, and it was actually a meeting with Martell and Marcel. And Mel looked kind of shocked, like she wasn't expecting that one. That's going to be a little more of a fight than she expected. So Mel launches into this whole speech about everything she does to take care of the kids and all the things that she and Martell have been through, and how, I guess I've been sleeping with a snake all this time. And here's the thing. All of that can be true. That's the conversation you have with your girlfriend or your mama on the way home from this meeting. That is not the conversation you have with this business professional in this professional business meeting, okay? I'm getting real sick of these out of place conversations, because this ain't got nothing to do with not nary a contract this man is gonna write up. Your family court judge might give a damn, but this has nothing to do with this meeting, okay? How much you dislike Martell and how wrong Martell has done you is not some form of currency, but you keep bringing it to all these business meetings as though it's going to get business done. We don't care. So that meeting comes to an end with her basically saying she's going to fight for her right to work on the land, and we moving on. The next up is Martell goes to meet Maurice at Maurice's office to review his credit. Maurice has a credit repair business, and Martell is saying, he needs help rebuilding his credit after everything he's been through in the past few years. I was on Facebook and I saw someone say in a Facebook group, "You mean to tell me Martell lost his wife, his business, and 100 points on his credit score for some, Now, ain't that something?" Now is the time to really sit back and evaluate, was this all worth it? When all the dust has settled and everything in your life has been leveled and you've lost 100 points on your credit score, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was there a better way this could have been done? Because maybe the end was going to come one way or another. But maybe there was a better way to have done this, because it can't be worth it. Martell did say it really hurt to admit that he needed help with rebuilding his credit. So we get to the final scene of the show, which is Tisha going to see Dr. Francis by herself. Dr. Francis basically asks her, "What brought you back?" And she said, "Well, the first time I came, it was because I was pretty burned out." And he said, "Well, why were you burned out?" And she says, "Well, the pandemic burnout of being stuck in the house with the kids, doing everything for, my kids. Basically everything it takes to be a wife and mom." And he says, "Well, you're married, but you are sounding like you don't have help." And she said, "Well, yeah, basically my husband is my fourth child. And the difference in him and my kids is I can tell my kids what I need them to do and they'll do it. I can tell my husband what I need help with and he won't do it. So he pretty much becomes a fourth child." She goes on to say how she was raised by a single parent, so she doesn't know what it looks like for a man to help, to have the support of a man in the household. And then her grandmother taught her basically to cater to a man, that a man wasn't allowed to wash dishes, they weren't cooking the dinner, they weren't doing anything domestic, basically, which is pretty typical of, in the South. Very, very typical. Dr. Francis asked her, "Well, are you continuing that tradition?" And Tisha says, "Well, not intentionally." She said, "I actually never wanted to be married or have kids because I had so much responsibility growing up. I just didn't want that." And I was shocked. That was quite the eye-opener for me. And I mean, not shocked in a judgmental or bad way, but shocked because Tisha just strikes me as the type that all she ever wanted was to be a wife and a mom and a stay-at-home mom. Like, that's just how she strikes me. So to hear her say, "I never wanted this," I had all these dreams for myself and I wanted to be all these things, and then life happened. I was 4 months pregnant when we got married. And she goes on to say, I don't want to seem ungrateful because I'm grateful for, what I have and the things that have happened for my life. But this wasn't the plan for me. And that was just so like, wow. Wow. Like, it kind of made a lot of things make sense to me. Because Tisha kind of has this underlying sadness. Like, there's just something about her that just seems sad. And like, she's trying to put on these airs that she's happy and everything is great and, life is great and, but she just seems like underneath it all, she's just sad. And that brought it all together for me. That made all the sense in the world that, this is why she's fighting so hard to, I want to be something, I want to do something, because this wasn't the plan. Like, it makes sense now. And it makes me feel really bad for her, actually. I think that's what I'm getting around to, is that it makes me really sad for her because she is literally suffocating herself and the version of her she wants to be the version of her he wants her to be. And it's just sad. So Dr. Francis asked her if anything new developed in their relationship from their last visit with him. And Tisha says, well, yeah, it came up that he is possibly depressed and that he's expressed that, she might be contributing to that depression. And so Dr. Francis is like, hold on. So basically, he's holding you hostage to his depression. And I thought that was the absolute most perfect way to put it. He's holding you hostage to his depression so that anything you say or do is the actual trigger. So when he wants you to be quiet, he pulls out this depression card. Like, I can't even. I was so into this. I'm like, okay, Dr. Francis, now me and you about on the same page, because I don't be agreeing with Dr. Francis sometimes. But I'm like, today, you ate your Wheaties, okay? So he asked her, do you really think it's your fault that he's depressed? When he tells you, oh, well, you like all these material things or nice things, what do the nice things actually mean to you? And Tisha's like, I think they mean love. I see them as an expression of love. And she goes into how growing up, nobody ever told her they loved her. She didn't hear that in her family. Her family wasn't a really affectionate family. But her mom gave them a lot. So she didn't say that she loved them, but she showed that she loved them. And so this is how she's grown up expecting love. This is how she's developed. This is the love language that she's developed. Is to give and receive things as an expression of love. She actually teared up in the confessional saying that, she can remember the first time she heard her grandmother say that she loved her and how she was shocked by it and she didn't even know how to respond to it. And so all she really knows is this way of expressing love. And so, this session made me a lot softer on Tisha. Y'all know I drag Tisha through the mud. Lord Jesus, I will grab Tisha by her bun and drag her, okay? But this really gave me a lot of compassion for Tisha. It was a big, oh, kind of moment. Like, oh, that's why she's like that. Oh, that makes sense. That kind of thing. And so it made me just feel really, really, really bad for her. I wanted to hug Tisha at the end. I just wanted to hug Tisha. So then Tisha brought up the Vegas trip. And she says, we went on this trip to Vegas with all our friends to celebrate our anniversary. And we had fun. And Dr. Francis said, well, he was okay with that, right? She said, yeah, he was okay with that, but there was a part of the trip he wasn't okay with, which was a recommitment ceremony, that he actually refused to renew his vows, that he felt like it was a joke. And Dr. Francis said, well, did you think it was a joke? And she said, no, I just thought it was something fun to do in Vegas. And, you know, while Tisha is telling everybody, you know, she's over it and it doesn't really matter, and, you know, oh well, Marcel didn't want to renew his vows, it bothers her. And it bothers her very deeply, which is why she's brought it up to Dr. Francis. So Dr. Francis is asking questions to get to the bottom of why it bothers her. And, you know, basically, what does his refusal to renew his vows represent? And what is it directly connected to? And it's directly connected to the rumors about her husband and her marriage, and that he has stepped outside and he has outside children. And she says basically, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke. A lot. And that's pretty much where the episode ends, with a to be continued. We will pick up next week in the middle of their therapy session, because yeah, baby, you're gonna need a lot of therapy, because you got a monster on your hands. Okay, Marcel's a lot. So yeah. But that was pretty much this episode. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot that went on in this episode. It was kind of a filler episode, which I thank God for, because I needed that after last week. Last week made me rethink my life. Like, I almost, like, okay, God, we ain't gonna, I don't know about this YouTube thing, because, yeah, no. So, yeah, I'm kind of okay with it being, you know, one of the middle of the road kind of episodes. I kind of needed that. So, you know, as always, I thank you for coming down here, listening, letting me get it off my chest. Please make sure you take a second to like, share the page with somebody. Please get down in the comments. Y'all know I love to get down in the comments and talk about it, you know. Let's share your opinion. I know sometimes y'all don't agree with me, and I'm okay with that. You got your opinion, I got mine. We bring them all together and have a party, child. Let's just live our best lives. But anyway, I will see you next time. Love you, mean it. Bye.